Okay, let's look at 2.4. 2.4 is more on slope. Okay, so a little bit of review would be about parallel and perpendicular lines. If we have parallel lines, what do we know about their slope? Yep, same slope. And then perpendicular lines, yeah, opposite or negative reciprocal. And reciprocal would be, let's say our first one is 2/3, then a negative or an opposite reciprocal would be -3/2. Whenever you have a reciprocal, a number and the opposite reciprocal, when you multiply those together, it should equal -1. So it'd be -6/6, which is -1. Whenever you multiply slopes that are perpendicular, you'll get -1 every time. And we also know the lines cross at a 90-degree angle. But something I want to show you on the calculator is whenever you put this in, I'm just going to put in 2 opposite reciprocals. So I'll put 2/3x plus 2. And then I'll do -3/2x minus 2. Just so I have 2 different lines, 2 different y-intercepts. I'm going to graph them. Why does this not look like a 90-degree angle? It should, right? It does whenever we graph it here. Because if we were to graph it here, the first one was 2/3. So it would be like this. That's y equals 2/3 x plus 2. And then the other one was 3/2, up 3/2. Something like that. That looks like a right angle. That would be -2. So why does it not look like that in the calculator? Any ideas? Yeah, the window. It has to do with the window. The window is stretched. The increments the differences between them. So we need to know how to change it so it looks like it. So there's a couple different ways. We can go to zoom. Number 5 makes it where it's square. Zoom 5. Now it looks like the tick marks on X and Y are the exact same. Now, does that look like a right angle? Yeah. So also, let's see, the window. If you look at your window, your X scale and your Y scale should be the exact same. So that's something you want to make sure of. So the way you check that is zoom. What was it? Square 5, which was Z square. So that's to make sure that it looks correct in the calculator. It's not distorted at all. So Okay, we will still be using that point slope form. Which is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay. The next thing we are going to talk about is we talked about a little bit yesterday, line of best fit. So in a scatter plot, draw a line that fits the data. Choose 2 points to find the slope and equation. Okay, one more short topic would be average rate of change. So whenever you're not given a linear function, you can still find the average rate of change. I'm going to put between 2 points. I'm going to draw a function. It's going to be kind of funky. So let's say we have a function like that. We can find the average rate of change between 2 points. Let's say we want to find it for this increase right here. Oh my gosh, throwing a ruler. So you could use the 2 points and draw what's called a secant line. Since these are 2 points, this is like saying this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. So you would do the same thing to find your average rate of change. You would do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But we're going to see a different way of writing this. It still means the same thing, but average rate of change is going to be a different ratio. It's going to be f of x2 minus f of x1 over x2 minus x1. you're going to see it like this, but just remember that f of x2 is whenever you substitute x2 into the function. And this is actually what y is. y2 is. They are the same thing. They'll represent the same number. Same thing with f of x1 is y1. It's using substitution. So I'll draw another example. Let's do a quadratic. And we can pick any 2 points and find the average rate of change. So it's either an increase or a decrease. So I'm going to use, for one of my average rates of change, I'm going to use from this point down to the 0, 0, the origin. That's a secant line. And so for this, it would be a negative rate of change. So you would find out that is what, negative 1, 4, negative 2, 4. All right? Y'all check me. 2 up 4, yeah. And then 0, 0. We know this function that we're dealing with is the quadratic parent function, y equals x squared. And so we're saying that x1 is negative 2 and x2 is 0. So we already know what they are, but you will be given a problem that's similar to this. It's going to list things out. You're not going to be given the graph for it. So to find your average rate of change, it would be f of x2. So you're plugging in 0 for x2. If you want to find that here, f of x2 means you're plugging in 0 for x, which is just 0. And f of x1 means you're plugging in negative 2. Which would be a 4. So we would do f of x2 minus f of x1. So 0 minus 4 over x2 minus x1, 0 minus negative 2. This becomes positive. So it's negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. That's your average rate of change. And it's a negative average rate of change because it is going downhill. Okay, so let's look at the notes that we have. And let's see if we can do a couple of those problems. Okay, we have a solve problem on the left-hand side, which is really hard to read. Next time I do these, I'll do it. I won't split them into two separate. So we'll just look at this problem since it is an example we can work out. Write an equation of the line passing through -8, -10, and parallel to line whose equation is y equals -4x plus 3. Express the equation in point-slope form and slope-intercept form. So the key word here is parallel. Parallel means that it's going to have the same slope of the equation y equals -4x plus 3. So we need to know what the slope is. It's -4. And we are going to use the point slope form to find the equation of the line that goes through -8, -10. So we have the slope. Now we need to label this x1, y1. So y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So it'll be y minus a -10 equals -4, x minus a -8. So this becomes y plus 10 equals, you make that positive, distribute the -4, -4x minus 32. And then subtract 10. Y equals -4x minus 42. And the answers are back here, by the way, so you can check them. What problem was this? 1A? Is there not an answer? What does it say? Oh, am I on the wrong page? Oh, I was on the wrong page. Okay, good. All right, let's go to the next one, 1B. Write an equation of the line that's perpendicular to the line whose equation is x minus 2y minus 3 equals 0. So in order to be perpendicular, it has to be the opposite reciprocal. So we need to find what the slope is here, though. We don't know what that is. So we need to solve it for y. So subtract x and add 3. -2y equals -x plus 3. And then divide by -2. So y equals negative over negative becomes positive 1 over 2x minus 3 over 2. So our original slope is 1 over 2, but we need the opposite reciprocal. So we're going to flip it. So it'll be 2 over 1 and change the sign. So it'll be positive 2. Is that what y'all got? Yes, -2. Thank you. Okay, and then we are going to write y minus, our point is 4, -7, x1, y1, 4 minus a -7 equals -2, x minus 4. Distribute the -2 and subtract 7. Was everything done correctly? Is that what y'all got? The only thing else that it asks for is it in general form. So general form is the ax plus by equals c. So we actually need to move this negative 2x to the other side. So we have the ax plus by equals c. So when we do that, we get, I'm going to have to put it over here, 2x plus y equals 1. Oh, that's standard form. General form, you have to move the other one over. 2x plus y minus 1 equals 0. You have to move all the terms over for the general form. That was standard. Okay, number 2. In 1994, 617 active duty service members were discharged under a don't ask, don't tell policy. In 1998, 1,163 were discharged under the policy. Use the ordered pairs to find the slope of the line through the points. Express the slope correct to the nearest whole number and describe what it represents. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay, so you should have finished it. Whenever you divide, you actually get 136.5. But it says to the nearest whole number. So it'd be 137 discharges per year. Okay, let's look at a few more problems. We'll just look at 3 and 3a. Find the average rate of change of the function from x1 to x2. So it gives us that the function is 3x. And it gives us that x1 is 0 and x2 is 5. So we want to find the average rate of change. So we need to find f of x1, which would be 3 times 0, which is 0. And then do f of x2. 3 times 5, which is 15. So then we do f2, f of x2 minus f of x1, so 15 minus 0. And then x2 minus x1, which would be 5 minus 0, which is 15 over 5, which equals 3. Okay, so any problem that's asking you for the average rate of change, you're going to find your f of x1 and f of x2, and then subtract those and divide by your x2 minus x1. Okay, so that is all for the notes for 2.4. So you have the assignment on My Math Lab.